Hello, I am the cartoonist M. Rashid. This cartoon has the distinction of, as it's being shared on 4chan poll, uh, it appears to be only shared by what appears to be an actual admirer, a fan of my work. And it's possible that he's just pretending that, trying to get a rise out of people to force them to address what I'm saying in the cartoon. But for the most part, it appears that he's whoever this is sharing it all the time appears to actually like it. Now, the interesting part is that when he does share it, except for one notable exception, it usually just sits there like a stone and nobody touches it, which is pregnant with meaning to me. As Apollonius of Tyana said, I know your silences too. I'm fluent in your silences too. So when they don't address it, when they have a whole lot to say about everything else, but suddenly you're quiet and you want to say nothing, they cherry pick very specific cartoons to take over there and very carefully step over conspicuously certain ones that they never, even when I'm responding to something you say all the time, you conspicuously don't touch it. And this cartoon happens to be in that category. It also, the other day, in my cartoon entitled The Deceptively Simplistic Partial Truth of an Evil Goal, in the video that I made for that, it was long. The video was long. It was longer than I like. And I ended up going down a lot of rabbit holes. And I don't think I closed off a bunch of those points I brought up. So one in particular is what I want to get back to. This is important. And this cartoon here has laser focus on that particular point that I need to talk about. In this particular case, the concept of affirmative action. Now, affirmative action, the mainstream, the dominant political identity, my ideological foe, presents affirmative action as if it is reparations in its entirety, and I have everything I'm asking for, and now shut up. That's how they present it. Nonsense, of course. And not all of them feel that way. A lot of them know better. The aristocracy. The white racist aristocracy is composed of all economic classes among the white peoples. Okay, so the ones at the top tier of middle management, not the 1% wealthiest, but the support class director level, they know better. Affirmative action is a bipartisan piece designed specifically to keep me from my actual reparations. They know better. They recognize that they're the ones that put it in place for that. The only ones that say in their Fox News nonsensical rhetoric that it is reparations and that it is, and actually believe it, are at the bottom of the aristocracy. They're the ones that just, they believe the mythology that was created to maintain the dominant position of their group. So, affirmative action is part of the weak package of policies, compromises, watered down, gradualism, designed to shut me up and keep me at bay. And just wait, we gotta ease ourselves into making you a protected class. We gotta ease you. This is the white liberal talking. We gotta ease you into being eventually made whole. Just wait, go slow. So when my actual civil rights leaders were gangbusters. It's like, we need to go from 0 to 100. We need what our people need right now. We need our reparations, like Dr. Martin Luther King, like, we coming to get our check, our reparations, and to be a protected class. This is what we deserve. Our rivals did not want that. Our rivals and enemies did not want that, because they wanted to continue to exploit and plunder us. Their wealth and success and stuff comes from grifting, theft, and evil. That's where their success comes from, starting from the slavery era and continuing up into the modern day. As long as I'm still on the outside being locked out of access to the wealth building class, they get to do all of that by themselves, creating entire armed forces services to go into space and receiving billion and trillion dollar contracts from the government. So they're already $1 trillion businesses, don't have any overhead, that they want that life for themselves. They do not want to compete with me with that. So let's go back into the past. I got to tie up one of those loose ends from that other cartoon. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 was my act. It was designed to give the freedmen the ability to do the same business that white people enjoy today and at the time. Everything they enjoy, that's the act that enables me to do the exact same thing. So, along with the return of my stolen inheritance wealth, which is what reparations represents, that's what makes me whole. Everything you could do, I could do. You get $1 billion grant from the government to do whatever business you want, I too get that. You come together and form these the dam projects of the 20th century that designed to pull your entire community out of poverty and give you an economic floor in partnership with policies designed to make you okay. I too am supposed to get that. That's what the 1866 act was for. That's why mega corporate, in that Byron Allen versus Comcast versus Byron Allen versus Charter and all those kind of Supreme Court decisions and fights and stuff, the corporates counter to righteousness was to destroy my act and return me to slavery. That's literally what he was trying to do. He was like, oh, okay, so you're not going to let me just do whatever in the earth from pure selfish evil, then I'm going to return you to slavery, and then we won't have to worry about it. That's literally what Comcast tried to do by destroying the 1866 Civil Rights Act. Any language around that that's not as blunt as that is putting me in danger. They don't care. So it's important to recognize that. That's a big deal. All right, so 1866. I already mentioned that the part of the counter to that act was 100 years of lynching. The breaking period, the domestic terror as we know it, was created during that time period, specifically to keep my ethnic group from enjoying the full fruits of being a United States citizen. They didn't want to compete directly with me. These were the sons of the Confederacy I was dealing with, So they didn't want to be equal with me. They didn't want that. They didn't want to treat me as an equal human and stuff. Their only relationship they wanted with me was the so-called good Negro relationship they enjoyed during the slavery era. That's what the Republican side represents. If I become a black conservative Republican, they expect me to dress and be okay accepting the small portion that they want, and that I be, yes, a boss, support class under them. That anytime I make my way up to the top of the ranks, it's because it's in full step with their agenda. I don't want nothing for myself. The only thing I want is to be happy taking what you allow me to have. That's the Black Republican position. We're not going to try to come together as a group to raise ourselves up. We're fine being a support class under you. The good Negro. That's that side. The other side is the one that's pretending to be my actual friend. And like, no, we're going to get you what you want. Just wait. So, the first part of the counter to the 1866 Civil Rights Act is the breaking, the barbaric attack of domestic terror. The second part of that same attack is the indoctrination. The indoctrination represents, what do we have? Convincing me that the liberal side is my friend and helping me get to where I need to be. That's the indoctrination. So, if I'm being indoctrinated in that concept, but they have no intention of actually doing it, then that means it comes with convincing me not to fight outside of what they're doing, which is what the ADOS movement represents. The ADOS movement represents us coming together as an ethnic group and working the system by ourselves with or without your help. That's what they didn't want. Let's go back to the past. The Montgomery, the Alabama bus boycott, the Alabama voting rights boycott under Dr. Martin Luther King and during that time period, the 1950s and early 1960s era, when those two boycotts were happening. And this was before the Freeway Project, so we did have Jim Crow era business districts, the functional equivalent of Black Wall Street and all these like black areas where we were. We had no other choice during Jim Crow but to have our own. So we had our own. So when we decided to boycott a white business, we just went, we're not going to your community then. We're going to stay where we are, where we have our own stuff. And then not patronizing your business, naturally that gives an opportunity for us to like plug that hole in our business district. So we're not, until we get XYZ, we're not going to patronize your business. We're going to stay in our business district and figure out a way to get what we were trying to get from you here. So hitting them in their pocketbook made they were like, oh, okay, we're sorry, here, you can have your voting rights. You can write the front of the bus now. It worked like a charm. Of course there was some caveat to that, but the bottom line of both those boycotts worked. The counter to those boycotts was the white liberals saying, whoa. Let's not be too hasty in doing that a third time. We'll do it. We'll take care of this part for you. You relax. No more economic boycotts. And we'll do it. We'll help you get to the other side, And that was when, mysteriously, the formal platform of the civil rights movement changed from desegregation and our laundry list of black political agenda items to the catch-all of nonsensical integration. That was a grift scheme. So I went from what I actually needed, which is what the ADOS movement resurrected, to the grift scheme of the white liberal. Integration. And what does that look like? Continuing to counter the Civil Rights Act of 1866. I need to remove your ability to take advantage of that act, which gives you the full ability to do everything white people could do in business. It's a wealth building class. To keep you from that, I'm going to make you integrate it. Integrate it into what? Well, on the pure business side, the Civil Rights Act of 1866 means that I'm competing equally with him in the wealth building markets. It means I'm a capitalist. It means I can take advantage of the free open marketplace as a legitimate owner and make my business like that, competing eye to eye with the former slave master. That's what Civil Rights Act of 1866 means. So to counter that means to lock me out of the markets. It means I violate antitrust with impunity to keep me out of the markets. When the markets are closed, all businesses suffer. And because I'm usually at the bottom of the tier, Black businesses suffer more than most. It happens like clockwork. Who suffers the most when a monopolist closes a market? Black businesses. Like all these businesses, like unemployment like goes through the roof. Employment drops because now there's no businesses to employ people when you allow antitrust violations. And right now we're in the second Gilded Age, so antitrust violations is the norm. The people who are supposed to be policing that are in bed with mega corporate, pretending otherwise. You're supposed to be protecting the markets from these super mergers and all of that. You're supposed to be protecting the people from bigness, the super greedy mega powers trying to keep all the revenue of industry for themselves. The FTC, the FCC, they're supposed to be protecting us from those people. Instead, I want to perform an antitrust violation and merge my mega corporate with that mega corporate. I'm going to get the federal FTC or FCC on the phone and tell them to send over a team of experts to help me figure out a loophole to make that happen. And then they say, okay, when do you want us to show up to help you violate antitrust and figure out a loophole? And then they do it. That's why we're in the second Gilded Age, because our cops that's supposed to be protecting the markets from demonic evil are working for demonic evil. So the net neutrality concept and the people at the federal level that's like fighting to end net neutrality on behalf of mega corporate, that's why that looks the way it does. And oh look, it's one of your immigrants in that role. How about that? So, to be clear, antitrust violations is part of the counter to the Civil Rights Act of 1866. The monopoly is the highest level of systemic racism, lineage-based systemic racism against the Black American former slave class, the American descendants of slavery. They can get away with this because they let the lower level of the white racist aristocracy in their emotional refuse to share just seeing Black America, the freedmen doing well and rising up the ranks from slave to congressman, just seeing that in Reconstruction triggered the lower ranking whites so bad that they just let them lynch us. They just let them attack. So the highest tiered, the 1%, they're watching this with interest. they're watching it. Of course, a lot of times they're egging them on and stuff too. But like, if the law is you cannot you can't close the markets, you cannot monopolize the markets. You have to like obey antitrust. But you letting the lowest level whites attack me, steal my land, lynch me, take my businesses, etc. You're letting the little guy do that. So when the highest ranking members of the white aristocracy violate antitrust, close entire markets and close entire industries, that's hurting white businesses too. And it was the historically the top most high profile proponents of antitrust were whites, populist whites, the judges and those guys. So they're like preaching the virtues of the free open markets, which your racism, domestic terror sins trailing you like a blaring noise. So the 1% are like, you can't preach to me about virtue and righteousness in the markets and stuff. When the land, the business you're sitting on and the land you're holding and stuff, you just stole from them black people. You just stole that farm from them black people. I watched you do it. So I'm going to go ahead and violate antitrust. And you can sit over there screaming and hollering all you like, fellow white person. But I saw you commit this sin while you're preaching at me. So I'm just going to do what I want to do. You can't, by rights, stop me while your sin is still, the stench of your sin is still fresh in the air. That's how mega corporate behaves and treats self-righteous lower ranking whites. Self-righteous lower ranking whites who try to hold the 1% to task, but those same self-righteous lower ranking whites sound like they sound on 4chan. A casual glimpse down 4chan's like threads. He's calling me the N-word. He's like casually talking about killing me just because, like, dude, that's how he sounds on the lower ranking. So the 1% are like, oh, for real? I'm going to go ahead and violate antitrust, which hurts you because your stench trails you like a blaring noise. So he gets away with it. There's no serious pushback against antitrust because we live in a racial economic caste system, and the people who benefit from that system most are the white political identity group, and all of them have filthy hands. They steal, they lie, they grift, and they kill to maintain their dominance. All right. So, taking us up to the what do you call it? Affirmative action. So, affirmative action is the way it is because the New Deal happened. Whites were showered with unlimited gifts and free land and stuff. They were allowed to steal land that I had. You're just allowed to take it. We went on this lynching, killing spree and just taking stuff from black people. And the government was like, just let them. So that's the nature of their economic floor. So the lowest ranking white still sits on top of the bottom caste, wealthless black American former slave class. The poorest white is still white. They're still of the aristocracy. They still can make moves that I'm locked out of in general. So he's given all that during the New Deal. So naturally, the next political move in the civil rights era is, okay, you did that for whites and stuff, and pulled them out of the Great Depression with that. Now it's our turn. Now it's my people's turn. I'm already long overdue for my reparations and stuff from slavery and Jim Crow and all that stuff. I need all of that taken away. I need my inheritance wealth returned to me, and I need to be made whole. I deserve to be an elite protected class in my country. And when I started to make moves so that I could also have free land grants and showered with unlimited gifts and stuff just for me, with specificity, just for me. They didn't want it. They protested. We don't want to be equal with black people. We don't want to be equal with them. So we refuse. So the people who were working on my behalf, the white liberal, pretending to fight for me, started watering down all these programs, and then they conflated the specificity just for me with general populist social programs. So the war on poverty kind of for everybody programs were conflated with the specificity I'm supposed to have so I can be raised up as a protected class just for me. I deserve that. So they were like, instead of giving black Americans that they deserve, we'll just combine this with general anti-poverty stuff, which means whatever you give the black people, white people can take. So there is no. So every time he says reparations, well, didn't we? What about the affirmative action and welfare that we paid? That's yours. You get that. What I was supposed to have was sabotaged. So there is no specificity just for black people. Literally everything that's in place from the civil rights era was watered down, split apart, taken away, and made into a blanket for everybody. So now anybody can take advantage of affirmative action. A general blanket, anybody who can claim a protected class under the Civil Rights Act of 64 can take advantage of the affirmative action. And since the entire laundry list of points that are counted as protected class stuff, white people can double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip as a protected class and be affirmative action. I'm a white person and I'm a homosexual and I'm a protected class and I can be affirmative actioned into anything as a white person. They can do that. They've been doing that. I'm a white woman and I'm a protected class and I can be affirmative actioned into whatever I want to be affirmative actioned in, and they do it. And they've been doing it. So every time you bring up affirmative action as I have my reparations, it's a lie. It's stupid. It means you're trying to spin me with gaslighting, or you're genuinely dumb and you just don't know, and you've just been hearing your fellows repeat this nonsense over again, and you're just parroting this nonsense. Either one. Pick one. You're either dumb as hell, or you know better and you're gaslighting me. There is no middle ground. There's no third option. So, and now let's dig into affirmative action. Affirmative action was originally put in place already weak, already stupid, already not what I actually need to be whole. Already not, but it's weak. But when it was first put in place, it was designed to be the poor blacks who have no education, no experience, nothing. They're just raw, raw of a sharecropping farm or something like that. Raw. How we're going to build them up. If they were white during the New Deal, you just like, here's your check, here's your free land, here's your blah, blah, blah. But, my enemies protested fairness. They hate it. They hate righteousness. They hate fairness. While they pretend to be Christian, they hate all that is good while you're going to church every Sunday. So they protested the fairness. And so now I get this weak affirmative action nonsense that's designed to originally do this. A poor with no education, no experience, Black American comes off the street. Affirmative action is supposed to give him a ticket to go into a white business and over anybody else be able to get the experience and the job elevation that he requires to now move on into society. That's what affirmative action is supposed to be for. Now, in practice, I'm the white business owner. How would it benefit me to let this kid with no experience, no education, nothing, come into my business? What if he's bad at it? What if I give him the task and he is so bad at it that he's degrading the quality of my company? I can't fire him because that'll magically be, okay, you're racist. You fired him because you're racist. I fired him because I picked a bad one. I need one who's actually has a built-in work ethic or whatever his family taught him, like a work ethic. I need that kind of Black person to be in my company to give him this opportunity that affirmative action is supposed to represent. And then we can work together and I can get him the elevation he needs. And the system didn't work that way. They didn't have those caveats built into it. I'm going to randomly shovel the luck of the draw Black kid into your company, and good luck if it works out. So if it doesn't work out, if I fire him, you're gonna label me racist and then take my business or something. Something horrible is gonna happen if, in order to protect my business, I have to fire this kid. So to keep that from happening, white business owners are like, I'm not hiring him. I'm gonna hire an overeducated, already has all kinds of accomplishments, and I'm gonna hire Skip Gates. He's my affirmative action hire. I'm gonna hire him. Come here. Oh man, you're really good at stocking that shelf. Win-win. It's a win for me. That's the only affirmative action for Blacks that they were doing. And the white liberals were looking at this and were like, I'll let it ride. Look, affirmative action works. Look at all the Black people that are making it from our program. That's affirmative action. Complete nonsense. Pretending to be for me, pretending to actually work for me. At no point did affirmative action do what it was originally intended to do. They just shifted it, did something else just to say that, okay, this is in place. It's not helping me. More people who are not me benefit from it than I do. And at no point does it benefit the poorest Blacks that it was designed to fix. So the whole thing is stupid. And if you're going around using affirmative action as proof that reparations is already, then you're stupid too. Peace.